Today we're witnessing a historic event, the approval of the new Sustainable Development Goals at the General Assembly of the United Nations. We think that there are many consequences to this historic agenda, and I would like to just share with you a few thoughts on both the global and the regional implications of this new development agenda. First and foremost, we're seeing the approval of a holistic agenda that moves beyond social issues into economic and environmental questions. So we'll be able to tackle things from a multidimensional perspective. We have learned a lot from the MDG agenda over the last 15 years, and perhaps one of the biggest things that we've learned is that we cannot continue to work in silos, dividing education from health and dividing that from sanitation and from poverty and vulnerability. We need to work together thinking about environmental, economic, and social constraints, and that's going to be foremost on the agenda. The second thing that is emergent and is very important is that we have broader instruments of public policy for the new agenda. For a long time, we had based most of our work on ODA, Overseas Development Assistance, that were agreed in the previous round of the 2000 agreement. In the future, we'll be adding to those resources multiple resources that start with fiscal resources from our own governments, private sector resources, as well as new funds on climate change and on technology transfer. So we're seeing a barrage of new instruments of policy that will be important for this new agenda. And third, important to notice that this is a universal agenda with a common but differentiated responsibilities between different countries. This means that much of the progress will be country-specific. We'll be tailoring our approach at the UNDP and in the UN system to what each country demands and the specificities of our region. And as we think about Latin America and the Caribbean over the next few years, there's a couple of things that are important and are on our agenda. First of all, to think about our development agenda as something that, through the lens of a 15-year long-term development agenda. We know that Latin America and the Caribbean are growing and reducing poverty at different rhythms. In the Caribbean region itself, there are very salient issues such as fiscal policy space, natural disasters, youth employment, and exclusions that transcend what's going on in the short run and that we believe are important for the future agenda. Here at the UNDP, we're working on a Caribbean Human Development Report, which will be looking at multidimensional progress, trying to estimate new metrics and indicators to capture multidimensional poverty, but also vulnerabilities to shocks on the environmental side and also on social and economic. We think that this contribution will be significant to some of our work in the region, and also to think anew about the problems and about medium and long-term duration. Finally, we would like to invite all of you to follow what we're doing in the region on the new Sustainable Development Goals. We think that this is a fantastic moment to put squarely on the agenda some of the issues that have been postponed for a long time, many of them very structural, that are based on long-term historical trends in our region. So those include resilience, vulnerability, and also the capacity to obtain achievements in social and economic development, but not at the expense of our environment. So we hope that this new agenda will be a long-term agenda that will position our region and, of course, all of our efforts at UNDP to pulling together and creating a cohesive society. Thank you very much.